Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this edition of the Prime Time Newscast in the English language on Canal International. I'm called Morinzi at Top Stories. The Prime Minister and Head of Government, Joseph Dion-Ngute, presented a social, financial, economic and cultural program for 2020 in the National Assembly, a moment to equally present the 2021 balance sheet, which he says were faced by just too many challenges. And according to a survey, the numerous road periods of lockdowns or shutdowns in the Northwest region have increased the number of casualties or cases of gender-based violence in the communities. And Patrice Matsape, president of the African Football Federation (CAF), has given an appointment to football lovers come January 9 to February 6, 2022 in Cameroon regarding the AFCON tournament. Those are major stories. Details right ahead. Good evening once more. The Prime Minister and Head of Government, Joseph Dion-Ngute, presented the Social, Economic, Financial and Cultural Program for 2022 at the National Assembly today, a moment to equally present the 2021 balance sheet, which he says was faced by several challenges, hindering the realization of some projects. Haisencha completes that story.
The government's economic, financial, social and cultural program for the year 2022 appears heavy and promising. The state announces a population and housing census next year. They focus on the reconstruction of the Northwest and Southwest regions shattered by the ongoing socio-political crisis, fast-tracking the process of decentralization by making available the lacking codes to the local authorities. In the domain of public contracts, the head of government says the system will dive into full digitalized and modernized swing in 2022. In his over 2 hours of presentation before the lawmakers, Joseph Dion-Ngute underlined that the government will put a special cap on the security situation by creating a digital platform to fight against human trafficking and intensifying road violence and poor civic behavior. Prospects on the road network with 491 kilometers of roads to be created, and the rehabilitation of some national roads like the Babaju-Baminda stretch of road, Yaoundé-Douala motorway, and a host of others. Rehabilitation of the national oil refinery, the Sonara, greatly damaged by the crisis. The projected report also talks of improving upon the business climate, promotes home production and consumption of local goods, but some parliamentarians have questioned the effectiveness.
How we can be able to consume what is Cameroonian without the necessary technology in most fields. We don't have the crafts industry that can be able to transform the wood, and we have a lot of forests.
With regards to the 2021 balance sheet, the state says enormous efforts were made, but setbacks imposed by the COVID-19 pandemic and crisis retarded a lot of projects, a reason shared by some MPs.
To be honest with you, truly the 2021 budget it was difficult for us because of the COVID.
The income generated by the state this year, as per the report delivered at the Hemicycle this Friday, November 26, appears quite worrisome to the people's representatives.
When I listened to the Prime Minister report and I heard that only 7 billion entered the coffers of the state within this 1 year, I was a bit embarrassed. Because you cannot have people who are charged to have embezzled hundreds of billions. And for a full 1 year, only 7 billion has entered the state's coffers.
Important to underline is the fact that amongst the earmarked project for the 2022 financial year, the Baminda Ring Road project is not in the government agenda.
According to a survey, the numerous long periods of lockdowns and shutdowns in the northwest region of Cameroon have increased the number of cases of gender-based violence in the communities. The findings have been presented in Bamenda this Friday by the Community Agriculture and Environmental Protection Association at the start of the 16 days activism against gender-based violence for 2021. Gender activities, jurists, counselors, and nurses addressed also non-governmental organizations on techniques on how to go about relieving victims of rape and other forms of violence from their trauma. Let's take a listen.
We organized the 16 days activism in order to bring together stakeholders so we can put our heads together and see if there are more, if we can get more access to GBV services in order to eradicate this pandemic in our community and to also help GBV victims and finally stop the existence of gender-based violence. Not just
most often when people just hear about gender-based violence, the first conception they have in their minds is like it is all about women. Both men and women, boys and girls, are exposed to gender-based violence. But why we usually lay a little more emphasis on the women and the girls is simply because they are more vulnerable and constitute the larger group of persons who are exposed to such practices.
We discover that the prevalence rate of GBV is very, very high, especially during this Anglophone crisis and the COVID-19 pandemic. It's on the rise. Instead of decreasing, it's rather on the rise because most of the women were complaining that their husbands are taking advantage of them. Because of the COVID-19, there was a lockdown. Most of them were at home. Economically, they were handicapped, and getting assistance from their husbands was very, very difficult for them. And secondly, with the girls, with the crisis too and the COVID-19 pandemic, the schools were shut down. Most of the girls went back home. And while they were at home, most of them experienced
Close to 100 IDPs in the Douala to Council area have begun receiving training on income-generating activities and entrepreneurship. These to take them off the street as the best way to earn a living. The training is organized by the Regional Delegation of Women Empowerment and the family. The Douala to Municipality or delegates of the Douala to Municipality have been talking with IDPs. More in the following story.
There are some of my sisters that is crisis that push them from here. They were not supposed to be here.
Many IDPs like Mabel, now residents in Cameroon's economic city Douala, have dark pages about the ongoing crisis in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon.
This is educational violence because those that are here with me are my younger ones that they need to go to school. And because of the crisis and there is no school in Bamenda.
I left Bamenda since 5 years because of the crisis. I'm here with my 2 children because I have 4 children. Then I came here, I make granite. I salt granite, I put it inside the bottle and I went in Bonanjo.
Despite her visual impairment, she tells me she is ready to step into a new page of her life.
The training that I'm doing boom for massage, it will help us to mass people. Don't the bomb help, but we will not buy it again in the market. We'll produce it ourselves. And candle also.
The blind couple is among close to 100 others IDPs taking part in a training on income-generating activities and entrepreneurship, organized by the Delegation of Women Empowerment and the Family, Douala to Municipality and their partners.
We believe in entrepreneurship as the way of solving the problem of violence against women. So we have brought the women for those 16 days to train them on marketable products. And those marketable products, as you have seen there, pearls, and soap making, gel for the body.
With the aim of taking some IDPs off the streets of Douala, as most of them go into illegal means to earn a living like prostitution, the experts say their products will be exhibited in supermarkets across the country. A way of making them self-sufficient. The training is part of activities to commemorate 16 days of activism to roll down gender-based violence in Cameroon. The Mother and Child Nutrition and Health Action Week kicked off today in all 24 district hospitals here in Cameroon's economic city, Douala. The event will be marked by an intense campaign where the agents will move from house to house. They equally go to schools and markets and equally go to churches. Parents have been told to react positively to the campaign. More in the following story. In the next 4 days, children between the ages of 0 to 5 and pregnant women will be the targets of the Modern Child Nutrition and Health Action Week that kicks off November 26 and wraps up November 29, 2021.
We have organized between the 26th until the 29th of this November the Mother and Child National Health Action Week. This consists of the supplementation of vitamin A and deworming of children. The supplementation with vitamin A is target of 2 types of children. We have those aged between 6 months to 11. They will receive the red caps of vitamin A.
The program is aimed at attaining a 100% coverage of the immunization campaign in the littoral region. The vaccination agents will visit schools, churches, markets to administer polio vaccines to children from 0 to 5 years, vitamin A to children from 6 months, while some pregnant women will receive some preventive treatment against malaria and other diseases. Parents have thus been advised to react positively to the campaign.
The second activity is deworming. They receive albendazole. Albendazole, you have the half from those who are aged from 12 to 33 months, and the 1 tablet for those who are aged from 24 to 59 months. The main strategies to reach the target are door-to-door strategies. They will also have the churches, strategies, markets.
The press briefing in Douala, November 25, was to remind and keep journalists abreast with vital information around the Modern Child Nutrition and Health Action Week. And the fight against tuberculosis have been intensified in the central region of Cameroon. The rounded project launched in 2018 rounded up this November 25. Success is recorded, but with much a call for vigilance. More with our student journalist in Yaoundé.
According to the project Catalyze Pediatric Tuberculosis in Cameroon, 330 children have been declared tuberculous, 327 on treatment. The evaluation of the project launched in 2018 in the central region with the involvement of 11 health districts and 19 health facilities was made yesterday during the closing ceremony organized in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé.
So today it is a great success with the closure of CAP TB. It's a great success for us Cameroonians, and we are saying that with this great success in the central region, we will be able to continue to speed up the TB in search of children who are infected with TB or exposed to TB.
Cameroonians call upon to be more vigilant and frequently go in for their children's checkup.
Also in the community, wherever we have any person who is an index person of TB, the children should also be tested, because we've noticed that those index, where there are index people, where index persons, 2 to 3 children will be exposed or get infected with TB.
Medical personnel challenged to look clinically and test all children below 14 years because tuberculosis can also be diagnosed in children.
And a book titled Delivered from COVID-19 Pandemic has been officially launched in Cameroon's economic city, Douala. The author, the wife of literal governor, shares her battle with COVID-19 pandemic, which badly hit her family. More on that story with Saleh Sherifa.
She is Veronique Rosette Ivaha Diboa, the author of the book entitled Delivered from COVID-19. She and her husband, Samuel Ivaha Diboa, otherwise governor of the Littoral region, survived COVID-19 virus. The dedication of the book took place on the 25th November in Douala.
Je souhaite, à travers ce témoignage, exprimer toute ma reconnaissance et souligner par la même occasion le rôle important de l'entourage pour toute personne en situation de vulnérabilité causée par la maladie.
In the book, the author narrates a difficult period of illness that she and her husband went through. A period where Samuel Dieudonné Ivaha Diboa, governor of the Littoral region, fought against the coronavirus disease with his wife by his side and emerged winner by God's grace. Exit.
La moitié de ceux qui m'avaient dit, Monsieur le gouverneur, vous avez pris un gros risque, celui d'aller à la rencontre des compatriotes qui viennent de France. Et j'ai répondu que s'il fallait recommencer, je le ferais. Pourquoi? Parce que je suis le capitaine du bateau littoral.
The book is structured in 5 phases, recounting the story of the virus, the year of pain and rejection, the lessons and lessons learned. This testimony of the wonders of God is prefaced by Professor Jacques Chatoué and postfaced by Dr. Roland Dieudonné.
And we now talk sports. Patrice Motsepe, president of the African Football Federation, CAF, has given an appointment to football lovers come January 9 to February 6, 2022 in Cameroon regarding the AFCON tournament. He gives this appointment in view of the 13th extraordinary General Assembly of the CAF schedule to take place that took place today, November 26, 2021 in Cairo, Egypt. The Minister of Sports and Physical Education, Narcisse Moelle Kombi, together with some different members of the administration like Ferdinand Gongo, were present during the announcement and didn't hide their joy since it quenched rumors of a possible dislocation of the tournament to another country. This edition of newscast in the English language on Canal International. Thanks so much for watching. We have news in the French language at exactly this level. But coming up next is a little precious. We're going to be talking about annual show. With me, I'll be back on Monday for another edition. Good night.